Chapter 14. The City That Should Not Be There. The fleet held orbit into the next watch cycle, and the anomaly kept refusing to become background. It pulsed on a schedule that didn't match anything their technicians could argue into comfort. When their passive arrays tracked the planet's limb, the distortion sharpened. When they looked away, it softened, as if it preferred not to be watched for too long. On Meridian's coordination deck, Lena Ward stood with a datapad in one hand and the rail under the other. "We need better eyes," she said. Still passive. Tightened orbit. No descent. The escort commander didn't like spending fuel for curiosity, but he liked flying blind even less. One Raptor. One pass. If anything changes fast, we pull it back. Henry Vance nodded once. Do it. The Raptor dropped away from the convoy 2 hours later and slid into a lower orbital track, still well above atmosphere. It flew like a thing that wanted to be forgotten. For 10 minutes, nothing changed. Then the pilot's voice came back, clipped and controlled. Fleet Chord, Raptor 29. Visual on ocean surface anomalies. Repeating bubble plumes. Localized. Not weather. Ward leaned toward the comm board. Bearing and drift. Deep water, the pilot said. No land in immediate view. Plumes are consistent, like venting. Vance kept his voice calm. Any contacts? Negative, the pilot replied. No ships. No drive plumes. No obvious heat spikes. Just the plumes and stand by. The pause that followed was short. It still emptied the room. The pilot came back, voice tightened by something she couldn't make sound normal. Broad electromagnetic spike. Not atmospheric. It hit fast and it's spreading. The sensor tech's hands moved fast, confirming EM surge on passive. Also seeing navigation drift in the Raptor telemetry. Inertial solution just got noisy. Ward's eyes narrowed. Something is stressing local space. Administrator Mara Keene stared at the display. Under the water. No one corrected her, because the ocean began to change shape. At first it was only wrong in small ways. An edge where no edge belonged. A curve that looked too clean. Then the surface bulged as if the planet itself were pushing something up and out. Water split and rose in sheets. Towers emerged. Clean angles in a world that should not have straight lines. A broad platform broke the surface next, water pouring off it in white curtains that caught the sun and turned it into glare. Then the rest followed in a controlled, deliberate climb, like an emergency procedure that had been waiting centuries to be triggered. Atlantis rose into daylight. For a heartbeat, the fleet went quiet, not from terror but from the simple fact that nobody had a category for a city lifting itself out of an ocean. Then the escort commander's training took over. Condition 2, he said on the fleet net, voice steady. All escorts, weapons to standby. Do not paint the target. Do not lock fire control. Readiness without provocation. Chatter broke out across ship-to-ship links, but it wasn't screaming. It was disbelief trying to become language. It's not a ship. No drive plume. That's a structure. Towers. How big is that? Ward cut through it. Fleet net discipline. Keep it tight. Vance raised his voice only enough to be heard. Maintain current orbit. No altitude change. No approach burns. No atmospheric inserts. We observe and we hold formation. Ward added, crisp. Weapons stay safed. Sensors remain passive. If something launches, we respond. Otherwise, we do not make the first move. The sensor tech swallowed. Power signature surged during the rise. It's dropping now. Not to zero. Low baseline. Vance's mouth tightened. It spent most of what it had getting out. The Raptor pilot came back, quieter now. It's fully surfaced. Water's still pouring off the edges. I'm not seeing any external field. No envelope. Just residual noise. A tight beam carrier hit the comm board, narrow and directed. A hail. The comm officer turned from her console. Incoming transmission. Origin is the city. Audio. Ward glanced at Vance. He gave her a small nod. Put it through, Ward said. External speakers. The voice that came out was female, controlled, and strained in a way that sounded like someone balancing too many urgent problems at once. Unknown vessels in orbit. This is Dr. Elizabeth Weir. I am the expedition leader of the Atlantis expedition. Identify yourselves and state your intentions. Ward leaned toward the microphone first, because it was her job to keep the lane clean. Dr. Weir, thank you, Ward said, clear and professional. Stand by for our operations lead. Then Vance took the MIC. Dr. Weir, this is Captain Henry Vance of the civilian liner Meridian, he said. I am acting operations coordinator for the civilian refugee fleet of the 12 colonies of Kobol. We are not hostile. We are separated from our military battle group and from our political leadership. We are low on supplies and looking for a way to survive. There was a pause on the line. Muffled voices behind Weir, too indistinct to parse. When Weir spoke again, the calm held, but it sharpened into focus. Captain Vance, I need to confirm something, Weir said. Before we left Earth, I was briefed that Stargate Command made radio contact with a refugee fleet calling themselves the 12 colonies of Kobol. Vance's eyes flicked to Ward, then to Keen. The name Earth still did that to people. Weir continued, measured and direct. Are you that same fleet? And if you are, how are you in orbit here? Earth cannot reach us right now. Vance didn't try to sound more certain than he was. I've heard there was contact, he said carefully. I wasn't part of it, and I wasn't given the technical details. What I can tell you is this: our fleet was split by an event we didn't control. We came out of FTL here with no sign of Galactica, and no way to find them. Weir didn't interrupt. She let him finish, then let a breath out that sounded like she'd been holding it too long. Understood, she said. I appreciate you being direct. And I understand you're in a difficult position. A male voice cut in behind her, impatient and close enough to the MIC to be heard. Elizabeth, keep it short. This channel's open. Weir answered without raising her volume. Rodney, not on this channel. Silence for half a beat. Then Weir returned, and the diplomat came through more clearly than the commander. Captain Vance, she said, please maintain your current orbit and do not attempt descent or approach. We're in the middle of a security and rescue situation inside the city, and I can't safely receive unknown visitors at Atlantis right now. Vance didn't argue. Understood. When things stabilize, Weir continued, I will send a small team to your lead ship so we can speak face to face and establish trust properly. Until then, we keep communications brief and direct. Ward leaned in, careful not to push. Dr. Weir, she said, we can send ship registry, population estimates, and a basic inventory summary on this channel if that would help you assess what we are and what we need. Weir's reply came back warmer, the pressure still there but not turning into a weapon. That would help, she said. Thank you. Keep it brief and factual. Her tone tightened again, not into authority for its own sake, but into responsibility. If you suspect anything followed you here, tell me immediately, Weir added. We have hostile forces in this galaxy, and we can't afford surprises. Ward looked at the sensor tech. The tech shook her head. Nothing on passive. Vance answered. None detected. But we can't guarantee it. We don't know what moved us. Neither do we, Weir said. Stand by. We will contact you again as soon as we can. The channel clicked off. For a moment, Meridian's coordination deck stayed still. Then the escort commander spoke, blunt and quiet. That city is a roof, and it can't raise its walls. Vance watched Atlantis on the screen, water still streaming off its edges, sunlight catching on towers that had no right to exist. A roof, he said, is still a roof. Ward was already turning back to her console. Inventory package goes now. Facts only. The comm officer nodded and started transmitting on tight beam. The refugee fleet held orbit. And on the ocean below, Atlantis sat in the light, low on power and high on consequences, while its leader tried to keep an impossible new contact from turning into a second disaster.